Right, hello and welcome back to Space Marine 2. Oh, he's dead.
Where are the traitors?
They are everywhere.
Honored brother, join us, and you may sate your rage and aid our cause. Lead me to the slaughter. Onward. This is the silence before
Valius is with us. Dreadnought Valius, it says on the front, so... Right.
My wars to belongs to this world. What is it called? Vile sons of madness. Is he?
He is not.
Pity. Then my hatred must be directed at his minions.
I meant to execute the other one, but I think he died, so I ended up targeting him. God damn. Yeah, but Dreadnought is absolutely caning me.
Resupplying.
What is this thing? Oh, it's like heretic one. Ah!
Brother, your duty is not yet.
At least we left a pretty corpse. Yeah, it's again. I think it should like give your lives back when you use the Medicaid thing, Left 4 Dead style, you know. But it's not the case. So we lost all his lives on the boss fight, and now we get here and we almost have to die to recover. Yes, I'm hit firing the sniper rifle, and what of it? Jesus Christ. What are they letting hit me? I think the Dreadnought's meant to start clearing the way for me, but... Okay, this is not accurate when just fired from the hit. Yes, there's like a Terminator at the back there that they're just letting obliterate.
Like that. Restocking. Worthless life. Munitions secured.
Got him.
Done so easily.
How do we close it? Has anyone got like a lot of bombs? Are we going through? No. Right. Okay, I should have definitely died then. I'm pretty sure it hit me with that.
We have our chance. This one's mine, brother.
We're taking one each. Oh, he's not even going to feel this. He's got a fake arm. We should have had him do all of them.
my lord.
He can just do that. He's like, he's the real main character. Doesn't stop him. So right, every named character through the portal.
Where is Lord Kauka?
It was a trap.
Perhaps.
Is this the Imperium?
If it is, we must move quickly.
To where?
We must find Calgar.
The Changer's will is inescapable. Even now we walk upon ancient paths, laid out for us before the first mortal true breath.
Something makes me think that there'll not be any more Medicaid stints. Not in this place.
Lord Calgar left you to rot in the Death Watch for a century, Brother Titus.
Coward! Cease cowering behind illusions!
Make a bulwark of your hatred, brothers.
I smell fear.
You died this day!
This is my domain. You are here by my invitation. I am offering you a chance to kneel.
Our chapter, sir, shall use your skull as a piss pot!
Him, and we shall do you the honor of ending you swiftly.
Release him! After all your efforts in bringing him to me!
Enough games!
Silence this heretic.
One last dance before the strings are cut!
And I shall Gut you like a grot.
Oh, no. Oh, that. Good dodge.
Brothers! You lie! You are no match for them, heretic! And so you deceive!
Your brothers buckle beneath the power of the
Titus, what happened?
This will try and fail to contain.
Ah. So if you try to block by accident, you get stuck in the animation. I've just healed.
Your head. I have you.
My thanks.
Where's he gone? Okay, I get the feeling that we're boned.
Resupply.
Oh god, there's clones in there.
The Demon Lord.
Getting chain stunned. Doing. And that one. This boss would best have checkpoints. Find the general direction of its eye. Well, somehow nearly got him to half. Oh god. That one.
Special tactics ready.
Special tactics ready. He ran away right away. God damn it. This again. And dodge through. Get him. Big stomp. Yeah. Dodge. Nah.
Reloading.
Last third or so. I just thought I've got 2 crack grenades I could also use. That might do something on him. I could just die.
I am equal with that. Crack grenade.
Could have said, does it stay on him if he teleports? We got him with 1, which, considering that he can teleport out of it, I think that's not bad. Considering.
The Demon Lord. Go for the eye.
Nearly forgot that I've got my rifle still. Oh.
We are surrounded. Kill as many as you can, brothers.
They are mere imitations.
More trickery. Guard yourselves.
Imura is weak. That last fight
Some of them aren't.
really. Stay together. We must find a way out.
What is that? Some sort of energy.
It could be a trap. Remain vigilant. Calgar!
Could be another illusion.
We shall find out.
Lord Calgar!
My words to you on Talasar. Speak them.
My lord!
Speak them, or be slain for an impostor.
Rules should never make a prisoner of intelligence.
Titus, it is good to see you.
Their sorcerer's power wavers. He is vulnerable.
See how his domain weakens as he does.
There is only one place left for him to hide.
Let us dig out the heretic.
I see him, inside the stream.
He prepares for another attack.
It is the artifact. It must be. There is almost limitless power within that shard.
Then we must make haste.
Oh god. Just keeps swooping in from off screen.
I will not falter when I still draw breath. Those Martian fools! They had perfection in their grasp, but squandered it in blind ignorance. It flows through me in ever-growing waves of revelation.
I was gonna get endowed with summit.
Cover me! Brother, wait! Get up! All your service, all the suffering of humanity, the Imperium Emperor. It's all for nothing! Rise, son of Gilliman.
Brother, it is over. You did it. Brother!
Rise, Titus. Your duty is not yet done.
Might need a bit of a polish. that armor. Fully expected roll credits then, but it looks like there might be a bit of an epilogue here. Right. Oh, we're just going to get sucked back to the battle barge and a little thing come up saying, "Well done, you've finished." Who knows? Oh, here we go. Nice epilogue for us.
Lieutenant Demetrian Titus, your decisive actions have saved this system from ruin. And so it is with great pride that I now present you with an honor worthy of your deeds. The laurels of victory. Let every warrior of the Adeptus Astartes see that here stands the true measure of a son of Guilliman.
For the glory of Ultramar!
Courage and honor!
Company dismissed.
Forgive me, brother, that it took me so long to bring you home.
My lord, that is...
Fierce was my wrath when I learned of your detention. In their arrogant suspicion, the Inquisition failed to recognize the truth. That no evil will ever overcome a devotion such as yours.
Thank you, my lord.
There is a mission. It will take you away from the Second Company for a time.
As you command, Chapter Master.
The Brother Chaplain will brief you. It was he that suggested you for the task.
My lord, the sword of Calth is ready to depart.
Thank you, Captain. My ship will convey you to your destination. I shall be glad of your company.
Titus, it has been an honor. It has indeed, my captain. I hear you'll be taking your leave of us. Not for too long, I hope. Emperor guide you. And you, sir. Brothers, I am called to serve elsewhere.
You'll be missed, my lord.
I will not forget the blood we have drawn together.
Nor shall we.
I owe you both a debt. You have restored my faith in brotherhood.
We shall await your return.
Courage and honor.
Courage and honor. Titus.
Lord Calgar has informed you of your assignment. Good. I will brief you en route.
You are joining us.
I am.
Very good, my lord.
You have done well. You have won the trust of your brothers. And of the Chapter Master. But know this, Titus. The stain of suspicion never completely fades. I will be watching you. Should you falter on the path, for even a moment.
I will show no mercy.
Oh,
Leandros.
My lord, it is time.
the guy who ratted him out from the first game. Office politics, he doesn't like his boss. Right. And I'm guessing roll credits now. Scene set for the third game. there we are. Absolutely fantastic. And talking about like sequels and things, I mean, honestly, with the amount of various factions in 40k, like honestly, there could be, you could do one against the Dark Eldar, you could do one against, let me have a think. I've gone blank now of all the factions. Necrons, you could have one. You know, you could, there could be Tau. I mean, they're kind of good guys, but they're not exactly, you know, allies of the Imperium. You know. You could do the various different chapters of Chaos, you know? You could do a lot. He could be promoted, he could move around, go from Ultramarine to, you know, Grey Knight or something like that. There's a lot that could happen here, you know, it's the thing with 40k, there's a lot of lore, a lot of different factions and armies and that. You could certainly, I mean, just doing like a tour of all the enemy factions, and all the different legions of chaos you could fight and things like that. You could straight up, you could keep it going almost indefinitely just on that. But getting to the gameplay part is that I've heard like some of the reviews of this have been kind of like, oh, it's a 7 out of 10. It's kind of meh. I can understand as to why. Because some people look at this and they'd say, well, the dialogue's a bit flat, there's not much story, the characters are just, it's stoic marine dude, you know, generic, you know, generic fighter man, you know, it's like, yeah, it is. But I think you have to, and I certainly do, because I'm a fan of Warhammer, you have to judge this as a Warhammer game, right? A Warhammer game, I mean, just look at that picture there with Hive City and that. It's not about whether or not it's got the greatest dialogue and story of all time. Like, some of the best Warhammer games have had the simplest stories. Like Space Hulk Deathwing, brilliantly put together. Warhammer game about Space Marines and that. It's very simplistic shooter. You're just going through a corridor and you're killing aliens. That's literally the entire concept. Right? But you have 4 of your friends doing that as aliens come in and you're just blasting your way through these awesome looking like derelict ships. You can see the eyes of the Tyranids in the dark as they come out through the vents and things, and you hear them smacking on the door and stuff like that. Yeah, it's an experience, you know, and that's what this is about. It's about, you know, it's not about, oh, has it got an amazing story and crazy good characters and all this. It's like, no. Does it have the 40k vibes, that 40k paint on everything, you know? Is the 40k, you know, what would you call it? The brand, the art style, the just all the vibes they in place, and you just go around looking at it, and it's definitely, I think any and every 40k game worth its salt will have an absolutely god tier art and especially environment and level design team behind them. You have to have to make this kind of game, and they did, and it was absolutely on display and then some. Like you could just look up at any moment and you see this giant towering city going up and off into the clouds. And I mentioned when I was playing, and I still stand by it, I've not had that sense of awe in a game since I first played Elden Ring and came out into Limgrave and looked up at the Erd Tree. That's the sense of awe that you get as you just like look up at the Hive City and there's just lasers and cannon and flak fire coming through and smashing the Tyranids on the bridges, and you know, all the gargoyle swarms going through the air and stuff as they're pushing across bridges, and there's giant steeples and spires going off into the air and everything's crumbling and exploding, and it really is about the feel of the game. Gameplay wise, yeah, it works. Combat is good enough, very simplistic, but I don't think you want to overcomplicate it, given the scale of it. Like if you're having to worry about directional blocks and, you know, if the parry timing was a little bit smaller and other things, it'd just become cumbersome and it'd pull you out of the experience. The combat is just there to serve as like just something to do while you have this backdrop of stuff going on behind you. It's like, yeah, you don't want the combat to be overly complex when you're dealing with that many foes on the screen at once. It'd become far too cluttered, far too difficult to deal with. Yeah, there'd be way too much going on. So sometimes you have to keep things simple, and I think that's why the combat is as it is. The ranged combat is perfectly fine, you know, the guns work, they shoot things, the gunplay is good, they sound right, they look right, they're well animated, the enemies go splat when you hit them, so there's a chunky feeling to them, like they're really doing damage. The melter guns especially just literally set enemies on fire or just utterly eviscerate the smaller ones and leave clouds of red mist and scorch marks. It's, you know, and the frag grenades, I mean, they might just pop and a bit of a smoke around that, but they'll kill like 10 dudes, you know, so all the weapons feel powerful. And getting to the real elephant in the room, or I should say carnifex, just the scale of the combat, I think, is really what sells the game. And I would go as far as to say that if you were to judge this game on the combat and the story and the characters and everything, it would be a 7 out of 10. But when you throw in that the environment and level design and things are just out of this world good, as well as the graphics, and not just from a graphical fidelity standpoint, as in, ooh, it's shiny and HDR and runs on 4K at 60 FPS and yada yada yada. No, just the art direction, because it's got that 40K feel to it, and they've really nailed it. Like all the way through it, you are just in awe in the just the environment around you. Be it in a corridor, in a like half-wrecked facility, or be it when you're out looking at the, you know, battleships in space, or overlooking the spires of a hive city. It's utterly ridiculous. You know, that straight away knocks it up in the, you know, if everything else put it up at a 7, that easily knocks it to like an 8 going on 9, but then you throw in the swarm, because that's what we really have to talk about here. When you're in that first mission in the jungle and you see the Tyranids coming in, you're like, I have to kill all of those, don't I? This isn't for sure. They are, and you see them clawing up the walls and like, oh god. Like at first I thought, oh, they're gonna hit that front gate and they're gonna be clawing up it, and only a few will get up here and I'll have to just fend them off. And no, the door was open and they got in and they quickly crawled up to the top of the facility, and you're having to kill like a good 100 or so of them. Like there's a lot, you know, you're killing a good 100 or 2 of them there. It's just, yeah, when you see them barreling down corridors or bridges or gaps in the walls and things, and there's just absolute unending tides. Like they picked the right enemy to use, because that's the thing. They've done an excellent job here of sticking to their strengths. They did World War Z shortly after the film came out, so everyone's on their high like, oh, World War Z is awesome, and then they see that CGI of them all climbing up the walls, and then they play the game and the zombies are climbing up the goddamn walls, and there's this huge number of them, and you're sat there thinking like, Jesus. Because if you didn't know, these are the people who made World War Z, the video game. It was pretty good. It didn't take off as much as, say, Left 4 Dead or anything. And I think the reason why is just, it was a good campaign, and it definitely got them World War Z vibes off, but that was kind of it. There were a bit of a tagged on online mode, and it was alright, but because it were only kind of alright, once you'd completed the campaign, you'd kind of done. And there wasn't much reason to replay it. Because it wasn't as... Because I think the thing with Left 4 Dead is it would dynamically change each time you played. And more than that, you had a versus mode as well where you could play. But, yeah, I think that people expect more from games now. And you'd also probably want to have a bit more than that to it. You know, you'd probably want more than that on the campaign these days, even more than Left 4 Dead 2 offered. But without getting too much into World War Z and its shortcomings, we'll look at Space Marine and the decision to do Tyranids. It's absolutely inspired. It's like, what is your engine good at doing? Swarms. What are the Tyranids all about? A massive effing swarm. Absolutely the correct choice. You would look at it and you would do either Tyranids or you would do Orcs. Orcs have already been done. Yeah, and besides, Tyranids are a lot more swarm-like. So, absolutely the correct choice. Very much looking forward to see if they add more content. If they if they're going to add DLCs that add more story, or if they're going to add more to the co-op, or how they're going to go about doing some kind of... Because it's where they're going from here that I'm going to be interested in. But yeah, the swarm tech, like I say, if the game is a 7, and the environments take it up to an 8 or 9, the swarm tech crests it towards the... Like, I think this is one of, if not the best Warhammer game to have released. I honestly think, probably since the Dawn of War series. I think it's really up there. Maybe even more so. It's definitely been the biggest Warhammer release that I've seen in recent memory. I think there have been other games that you would say, oh, there's other AAA Warhammer games. Yes, but none have been hyped up like this. None have had the visuals and the spectacle and scale of this. Like, Darktide got the vibes right, and there were definitely a decent amount of monsters on screen and that, but this is like looking at the paintings and imagery in Warhammer, in the books and the magazines, and seeing it brought to actual life. Like, it looks like the battles that you see depicted in the books and things. We're finally kind of getting there on scale. And I think it really... The biggest thing I would say they've accomplished here is they've sent out a very big message that graphics matter, but they don't matter as much as what you would just call spectacle. You know, the sheer scale of this game when you're fighting enemies, the sheer scale of the fighting is unparalleled. I can only think of like the Total War games that are vaguely in similar sort of realms in terms of the number of units they're putting on screen, but they're just... There's not as much going off in the background, and it's not as visually... well, it's not as good looking and things like that, and you're not right there in the thick of it, you know. You kind of pulled back just looking at this big blob of units smacking into each other in the Total War games. This, you're in amongst it. So it's doing something else entirely on regards to that. But yeah. And I think that is going to send a message that, you know, you can accomplish something with scale. And I think as things like the Unreal Engine are getting more advanced and tools are getting better and assets available in stores are getting better, indie companies are getting to the point where they can almost replicate the look and feel of a AAA game. On a small scale, they won't have as many levels, there won't be as much in the way of gameplay mechanics and features, but they can kind of get the look down. So they're going to have to figure out something else to do other than just more graphics. And we're going to see diminishing returns on graphics. Like, the next big thing is like path tracing that they're going to bring out for graphics. Like path tracing, then probably 8K. And if you look at that stuff, it's like, yeah, it's better, but it's not the difference that you used to see between console generations. We're seeing diminished returns instead using that horsepower in the consoles to add scale and just really crank everything up, that could be another angle to approach all this from. Like, your game might not be, you know, it might be good look, you know, good enough looking, but if you can crank the scale way the fuck up, you know, it might be another way to differentiate themselves. You know, I think other AAA titles could probably pay attention to that. I would honestly say this reminds me of Dead Island 2. If you haven't played it, I would recommend it. I think you can get it on the Game Pass for Xbox and Microsoft. Because it had a similar thing going to it. It's like, yeah, the story was crap, the characters were kind of meh, the gameplay was generic, you know, and you think, well, what the hell's going for it? And yeah, I mean, it wasn't as crazy good as this, but it had a similar thing where, okay, but the zombies, you could absolutely kill and clobber them in such gratuitous, sort of violent such a gratuitous, violent, visceral manner where you can see their bodily organs coming out as you, and then you can set them on fire and it chars their entire skin, or throw them in acid and it burns them and melts them away, and you can see it slowly corroding them and peeling all their skin back to the muscle layer and then the bones. Like, just the tech that was on display for that, if you were a zombie fan, that game's far better than a 7. Because what you care about is, can you kill the zombies? Yes. Is it extremely satisfying? Absolutely yes. Is it co-op? You bet your ass it's co-op. They're you know, when a game's ticking all the boxes that you care about, do you care when it doesn't tick the boxes that you don't give a damn about, you know? And that's exactly what we've got here. As a Warhammer fan, all my boxes are thoroughly ticked. I have basically been gushing over this. I have very few complaints. It's my main complaints are about the balance, especially around ranged combat, where enemies just literally disintegrate your health bar. Granted, I'm playing on a harder difficulty, even though it does say that that's the intended experience. Keep in mind it was the intended experience for probably co-op, I'm guessing. So it probably assumed there were 3 of me. And I mean, I know I'm good, but I'm not that good, so I'm happy to have managed to get through. But I do think that they should just put more Medicaid stims at checkpoints, because what are you going to do otherwise, you know? Like, well, you'll only die respawn there with full health anyway. They might as well give you a med stim on the way through the first time. Just makes sense to me. Or just, well, anyway, or at least restore your lives. You know, maybe each Medicaid stim should restore a life that you've got. Anyway, there'll be more to come, I think, on the channel. I'm hopefully going to manage to convince a few people to join me on the co-op. If I don't, then I'll just play it with randoms, but we should be seeing some co-op on the channel. I hope you stick around and watch that and go through it with me, because it should give us, basically it should explain what was happening with the other squad in the meantime. It should be almost an entire additional campaign on this campaign. Like, this is basically half of the game's campaign offering. Which, if you think that the game is short, just keep that in mind. This is half of the campaign, not the full thing, right? And the other mode has replayability, apparently. You've got different classes, you can level them up, they get abilities, so there'll be reason to replay that. If you are thinking of getting this, keep that in mind. It's not just this offering. I do worry though where they're going to take all this, because there is a PvP mode, but it's just a basic, I've yet to play it, but from what I've heard, I'll try it myself, but it seems to just be a basic PvP sort of deathmatch and domination mode thing, where you just, you know, it's just a third-person shooter, you know. They should probably have come up with modes that really expand on the idea of this swarm tech that they've got. Like, maybe it should have been PvE, and it should be all about, you know, going in and how many waves of Tyranids can you defend against, and you upgrade your marine each round and call in supplies and, artillery strikes and things that you buy with requisition you earn each round or something like that. Maybe they could have made a different mode that was more based around fighting swarms, and that could have gone somewhere. You know, I fear that though people, because another elephant in the room, everyone's saying, oh, this could be the thing to beat Helldivers. It's like, I mean, I'll be honest, I've bought both and I've extremely enjoyed both, and I'll probably go back to Helldivers because it's had an update lately. But I don't see if I'll go back to this once I've completed the co-op and had my fill of the multiplayer, because I think, well, they need to add something more, because the thing with Helldivers, it's got those randomly dynamically generated missions. You've got lots of different stratagems you can use. Each mission is different. You know, a different map, different enemies, different things in play. This, you can replay the same missions, or you can fight PvP 6v6, and it's not the most inspiring and original game modes and gameplay, so I worry about the longevity, I will admit. It's worth the price for the experience and the campaign alone, but whether or not I stick around will be another question, because again, I don't think this will have reasons for me to stick at it for, you know, more than a few dozen hours. I think I'll quickly have my fill. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. This has been Space Marine 2. That's my thoughts on the whole thing. And just an excellent ending there. But I'll skip the rest of this. We'll see if there's any end credit sequences. Then we'll cut the episode. Oh, no, there we go. Continue your fight. Continue the battle in one of the other game modes. Lead a unique combat squad to complete missions in operations, choose war gear upgrades and appearance customizations, or go into Eternal War, the PvP mode, compete against some other players. So, the real longevity of it will depend on those modes. I don't know if they'll be enough to carry it, but I think they'll at least add another dozen or so hours. But, like I say, we'll at least do the co-op. I hope to see you for that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you then.